Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We got live now from Fox. And we got President Trump orders reopening of Alcatraz to house nation's most ruthless and violent offenders. Well, okay, so when I first seen this headline, I'm thinking, damn, don't we got enough prisons already? Alcatraz is a notorious prison from back in the day out here in the States. And the fact that he wants to reopen it, I guess, I just thought we had enough from like super maxes that hold the worst criminals, but I guess we need more, right? So we're gonna get into this. With that being said, what's smoking on my dragons? Divine, righteous, almighty, great, overachieving, never slacking. Here we go. Let's jump into this and figure out why Trump even wants to do this. I mean, we know why he wants to do this, but I wonder what made him have this idea.
All right, welcome back in here to Live and Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. It is nearly 8 o'clock on the East Coast as we're following the top stories. President Trump touching down back in our nation's capital, also making a big announcement in terms of Alcatraz, reopening that prison. You can look live now here at this as Air Force One on the ground at Joint Base Andrews. We'll soon see him take those steps back to another busy work week as he lands at Joint Base Andrews. We'll see if we have any comments on some of the top stories of the day, but we're just getting more information right now about this. A post on Truth Social from President Trump calling for the reopening of Alcatraz, saying rebuild and open Alcatraz. For far too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders. When we were a more serious nation in past times, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone they could harm. That's the way it's supposed to be. No longer will we tolerate the serial offenders who spread filth, bloodshed, and mayhem on our streets. That's why today
he is taking "Make America Great Again." Clearly, he's taking that to heart. He's not playing with that. He really wanted to go back to the old ways. Alcatraz. I mean, personally, like I stated it earlier, like I feel like we have enough prisons. Honestly, like I do. We have super maxes. We have prisons everywhere. We got minimum prison facilities. We got medium prison facilities. We got maximum security facilities. We got, we just got so much facilities that there really is a problem. Really is a problem in a country where you have to keep like opening up more. I thought we was already deporting all the bad guys. I thought we was already sending people off to Guantanamo Bay, however you pronounce it. I thought we was already doing that. So we want to open up Alcatraz too. Like at some point we got to really figure out, okay, what's wrong with the environment where it's producing these type of individuals. Seriously.
I am directing the Bureau of Prisons together with the Department of Justice, FBI, Homeland Security to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent criminals. So that's a big announcement coming on social media today. And of course, lots of people are familiar with that notorious prison, as in a message he said they hope to reopen that former prison on a California island. Of course, notably, the prison was closed back in 1963. Alcatraz Island is currently operated by the National Park Service as a tourist site. The order comes as President Trump has been clashing with the courts as he tries to send accused gang members to the notorious prison in El Salvador without due process. President Trump has also talked about wanting to send American citizens there and also to foreign prisons. And you can just see some of these images there. Not far from the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz sits, and of course, notorious prison, but also notorious for a prison break that may or may not have been successful. A lot of conspiracy theories out there about this, but you can see some of these old footage sitting there in those cold waters just off the Bay Area in San Francisco, Oakland, and beyond. So we'll see what happens with this as President Trump calls for the reopening of Alcatraz there by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So you can just see some of these waves there off the coast, obviously notable for the fact that it was nearly impossible to escape. So we're just following this here on Live Now from Fox about this latest development with Alcatraz. We're also still waiting for President Trump to get off the plane there at Joint Base Andrews. One more time, a live look here on Live Now from Fox. You can see the doors open. The stairs are out for him to walk down. We'll see if he comes to the media or gets on Marine Force One to return to the White House for yet another busy week. Last week really marked the 100 days in office, and he capped it off with the commencement speech at the University of Alabama. We're going to hang with the shot just a little bit longer here, approaching 8 o'clock on the East Coast. You can see this.
Let me say this. So today on the news, I seen there was a woman in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, who her body was found was seen on I think it was like on a highway. It was burning. Her body was burning. People thought it was a mannequin. Right? That's how messed up. Rest up to her. That's horrible. But long story short, I see she was a volunteer firefighter. She was a mother, and they showed the picture of the killer. And they're out hunting him, and my question is like, what is going on where people like that are roaming around society so rampant? Because everywhere has their famous serial killers and this and that problem, but like, why in America has there been so much shootings? Why school shootings, mass shootings? Like, just like why? Like, why are people so hooked on opioids or certain why? You get what I'm saying? And why do we need to open more prisons? Like, why are we not, like, there's something that's not being focused on here. And I feel like that's the bigger problem. I don't feel like this helps society as much as we might think it does, because it might be something in the environments that's constantly producing these type of people and these type of psychopaths that we're not really looking at. So, yeah. If anything, they might just, psychopaths might get a little smarter if the consequences get worse. So we have to figure out what is it that's constantly producing people who are doing just insane things. Chopping people up, and there was this one guy in Ireland that I had seen. He had like chopped some kid up. And it struck Ireland. It was horrible. It struck Ireland, and it's just like, then I look at what goes on in New York or just around the U.S. period, and it's like those stories are so common of people getting found chopped up in garbage bags, and like, it's horrible. In plastic bins, and so yeah, if you're committing those type of crimes, yeah, you definitely deserve to be punished in the worst way. But at the same time, we have to figure out what's producing that mindset, these psychological problems, and I'm sure it's a lot of things that are being ignored that is causing these just these defects within people.
The sun is setting on our nation's capital here on this evening. Some people walking about. It could be not very long until President Trump gets off the plane. So plenty to talk about upcoming this week in terms of tariff concerns. Of course, the Port of Los Angeles talking about potentially the impacts could be started to be felt really this week. We're also learning that Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney will be in Washington, D.C. after the election last week. A mandate there in Canada as well for him after he replaced Justin Trudeau there atop the Liberal Party, now solidifying his spot as Prime Minister of Canada. All right, let's slide away for a quick 2-minute break. We'll get back.
Okay, so y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. Do y'all feel like that's a smart move on President Trump's end, or do y'all feel like we don't need no more prisons and we need to figure out something else? Y'all let me know, and I'll be back with more. Original link in the description. Much love.